Hello again. I am wondering whether this will work at this moment because it is 11 o'clock and I should be awake, but I'm not quite sure whether my brain is going to cooperate fully. So, um, first of all, in case you want to know, my name is Eileen and I will be fine if you say Eileen or Eileen or something like that. I don't know. As long as it isn't E-line. No lines. So because it's way too much of a muddle on this side of the camera. So in case you were wondering, um, I'm actually named after. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. This is going to be another long-winded thing here. So if you're not having a drink yet, pause and go get some for yourself because I made myself a cup of tea and I've got so much stuff to talk to you about. So, about my name. Isn't it funny? My parents were such internationally minded people. We were always traveling, we were all over the place. But I suppose most of that happened really in, I don't know, the European continent. So, French, German, Switzerland, those type of places were where we were at. And over there, Elena will be okay. But I was actually named after by my dad because he had ideas about status and station in life and that type of thing, where he did not recognize himself in them, in the ideas, but he still sort of wanted to, get the glory and get the brilliance. So I suppose he meant well, kind of thing. But he named me after the heroine of a novel by a Dutch author that I don't suppose is really very well known abroad. Late 19th century author, Couperus. And he's written some really nice books, and I appreciate him as an author a lot because he's done a couple of books that I think his style is fabulous, and it's quite old school, of course, being 19th century. You have to, allow for that. But the novel that I'm named after, Elena Vera, the heroine is, I think, 18 years old or so at the end of the story, and she kills herself. So my dad, was that what you were going to give me? He didn't think of it like that. He thought she was glamorous, and he appreciated the. I don't know. I don't think he thought about it further than my second name, Eugenie, after what was it? Napoleon III's wife, Eugenie, Empress Eugenie. More pretty clothes and feminine stuff and all that, and all sorts of stuff that I will never be in my life if I have to, fight tooth and nail. I will go to the army dump store any day, okay? Because, oh my goodness, no. Also because it means that type of culture, that type of femininity, if you will, entails being supported by your man. Big surprise, I am being supported by my man. But it means what we used to call pecuniary decency. It means conformism. It means not having your own YouTube channel where you just yak on about life and about your experiences, because that wasn't really part of it. Maybe it was. Maybe, of course, they were human. All of them. They were really human. So maybe I should do a bit more investigating in those two females. But my dad thought it was cool to have like the two little E's as initials, because he knew that from the poet E.E. Cummings, of well-known fame, that I have no relationship whatsoever with his writings or what. I have read that for English studies, and it just went over my head. So, and the fact that I don't see my dad at all, even though I think he's still alive, they were well-intentioned ideas, so that's where my name comes from. And what much good may it do anybody? It's just my name. So I've always liked Eileen, especially in the Irish type Eileen Og and that type of thing. I have got a children's book in a Dutch translation, Long Ears. It is the original title, also in English. I love children's books. I just love them. And there's an Eileen Ogg in there that's just bouncing around with fair-haired curls, and it's very wide open, and there's lots of nature and interesting stuff, and gypsies, and tinkers, and people who work on copper pots and stuff like that. So excellent. Which doesn't have anything to do with my theme for the day, because my theme for the day really should be how I feel now that the Shakti energy has gotten into my heart area. And I swear to God, everything is different. And it is my house, my life, my people, my cats, my animals, my birds out there, my trees. Suddenly, I'm all here, just out of that. So I thought that's just too priceless. And I still should look at the horoscope, the chart for Wednesday last, which was really the 1st of May, I think, in the evening, because that's when it happened. That's when I got this Shakti energy, as I've described sufficiently, I think. I got this Shakti energy to go into that back heart area where there was still quite a bit of work to do. And from then on outwards, everything is it's just been way easier. Everything makes sense suddenly. Everything falls into pattern beautifully. Everything, the puzzle is complete. Ugh. I just gave myself goosebumps right there. So I don't know what this is going to do for me or for us, I should say, other than make me happy and make me feel a lot better. And yes, I have had a bit of a headache and my head is still kind of heavy. I've been around the pond 3 times outside walking, getting me some fresh air, just in the past hour or so. So I could do this because I wanted to come on again and, give you the update. So I've been thinking I'm not going to, worry myself too much about going and doing new things in my life. I probably will. I probably will have a lot more to invest in my life for the first time, really. So that's extraordinary. It's really hard to describe, other than I am really here. And I used to do the talking, but there was a part of me that was just hidden away in pain. And I suppose what I really should also do is look back on the situation the way it was and try to figure out somehow, with or without cards, I don't know, what it was that was hidden back there, that needed this Shakti energy. And once that was come into that area, then after that I get all these possibilities and all this expression and all this life, and everything just starts making sense. Now I can relate. I've got this, cute little goddess little thingy on because I like to have, this to look at myself as well, and it should be a bit higher up, I think. But because I know I can fiddle this in such a way that it can go up a bit more. Theoretically, it should be possible. It does look like I'm strangling myself. I'm not strangling myself, it's fine. So, yeah, there's all this stuff, and this side doesn't work, does it? Yes, it does. So it should be a bit higher up. But I haven't worn any crystals. That's where I was going with that. I haven't used any crystals. I've got a beautiful celestite crystal, really look at that, all big blue square. I don't even know where I got this. Probably inherited it from somebody's, great uncle or something. And a smoky quartz celestial right next to me. They're just on the table because I don't even need to handle them at the moment, because I am in this place. Maybe my cards will illustrate it best. I had an interesting that I thought would be interesting to share. Type of approach that was on Saturday last. Today's Monday. What is it? 5, 6, the 6th of May, where I went through my steampunk cards through the whole deck, and I've seen people do this, so it's probably common or a common idea or something, but you just feel your way through the deck, select cards by feel, the cards that feel sort of best for you at the time, lay them out. That's what I did. And then I did a second time where I went through that again, and I sort of had, in the end I had 10 cards left over. So I didn't ask any questions other than give me, like, it is like a grand tableau, except it will be a small tableau, a petit tableau, where I have 4 cards in a row, and then another 4, and then 2 at the bottom. So I suppose I could go into all sorts of detail about how significant this is. That's the King of Pentacles right there. What's striking about this, and maybe I should try and take the camera and then go like this. Maybe I will try that. So pardon any shoving and bumping, okay? We're just going to do it like this. So I will point the camera at the cards, like so. Hopefully, more or less, that should show you all the cards. And then I can slowly, there's my garden and my bikes. One bike for me and one for the husband. And then I will put you back because I thought it was quite pretty to look at. Anyway, I've got pentacles on this side, the king, the 10 and the 8. I've got majors, the whole left side of the whole thing. So 5 cards out of 10 are majors. And they're great cards, all of them. At the top, in the middle, I've got those 2 that aren't pentacles, the Queen of Cups and the 7 of Wands. Quite striking. So apparently I will need to do a bit more self-determination, self-defining. I guess that's what this card is really about. I'm trying in this new life that I've got with the Queen of Cups right on top of me, on top of, you know, she's beautiful like that. And she's got the King of Pentacles on her right side and the Chariot on her left side, accompanied by the High Priest, like so. And those cards, I can go into all sorts of detail with this, and I probably will for myself, because I've taken it, I just took a photograph Saturday of this spread, and then now I have let it out for myself once more to have a new look at it. And this 7 of Wands woman is looking at this side, so underneath the King of Pentacles at the 10 of Pent, and this, it's almost like I am observing myself, observing life. So it's a lot of observation. But there's also been all this work. The 8 of Pentacles is a card that's been stalking me quite a bit, together with the card that's next to it, the Strength card. I'm so happy with these cards, you guys. It's just amazing. And on the other side of the 7 of Wands, woman standing there looking quite a bit defensive still, is the High Priestess, which is never a good thing or never a bad thing to have, right? Never a bad card. And next to her is the Sun. And that's it. That's my card. So as far as interpreting this spread goes, I think that I am looking at what I have accomplished. I mean, King of Pentacles, yeah. So I feel comforted by the sense of stability that I get from these 3 Pentacles cards. I feel also a bit challenged by the Queen of Cups card that is on top of me. Like, now it is going to be about defining really who I can be, what I can do, how I can engage with everything in a completely new way, in a way that is really completely new to me, in the sense of authenticity and immediacy. things are going to be that much more immediate. So that feels kind of scary. That feels not necessarily threatening, because my life is good, but I'm always worrying about, how long will it last? It has lasted for years. I tend to be lucky, which is how I see. Actually, I see all those major cards, the major arcana cards, I see always as lucky. Somehow there's, especially of course, the Strength card and the Sun, even the Chariot about having to, shouldering your own thing, your own life, your own awareness, shouldering the responsibility and having... I'm always struck each time at how much these cards are really the same. Each card. In the Strength card, actually you get a sort of a juxtaposition of two people. And there's an infinity symbol, lemniscate at the top right there. Do you see that? I hadn't even noticed. So it's like the exchange between two partners constantly. There's that. And there is the position of the third party. And in each and every one of the 4 other major cards that I showed you, there are these threes. There's always the exchange between the two and then the third position. So in my brain, it just tends to, there's a little part of my brain where it just tends to poof into each other and there's just one major card left. Kind of. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that thought at all. I don't suppose it'll necessarily have to make sense in actual life. I just feel really lucky with the Strength and the Sun and the High Priestess. You would think that I should start doing more with cards, reading cards for people. Who knows? Maybe sometime, maybe this year, maybe soon. I want to some extent, but I'm not really in the right kind of countryside for that, in the sense that there is, of course, a huge difference in background between people around me and myself. So it's not so completely evident, okay? To me, it hasn't been evident. But then my thoughts, all my thought process and my priorities and everything that I've been, the way I used to think about things, all that I can put, stick it in the bin, because my perspective is completely different now. So I don't know where I'm going, but I am in good company. So that's what this spread is all about, I think. I like that a lot. And then moving on from there, I had, I was looking at Elle from Sacred Seeds videos again. I've seen a couple of her videos, because if you look up on YouTube, you search for Kazanlar Tarot, you also get a couple of references to Oswald Wirth, I should say, because he's a German speaking type. Okay, Oswald Wirth. He made a set of cards, just the 22 majors, back in the day, and it looks like that was really an enormously important precursor to everything we've got today, really, especially going into all the esoteric symbology and that type of thing. So I was watching a couple of videos by Elle, and then I even tried to message her because I miss her, and I know there's other people out there who miss Elle as well, because she was always such a cheerful personality, and she had a ton of knowledge, and I just hope she's okay, really. I mean, she doesn't have to come back if she can't, or if she's busy. Please be busy. That's just, life is out there to be lived, so I should acknowledge that, really. But she has another video about her favorite decks per century, and she's got a lot of old decks as well, and that reminded me of my Minchiate cards that I made last year, That's the death card right there. And I found another website. What's that? Can't even see. Oh yes, the element of water. So that's how Minchiati cards are special, right? And that's the Hanged Woman right there. That's what they look like, just a couple of cards. 5 of Cups and so on. I found a website, an Italian website that has, it's in my channel somewhere. If you look for Minchiati cards, you will find them. There's a link to that website as well that has like downloadable pictures of each and every one of these. And so it is a website that is about using them as a playing card game. So there's the Ace of Swords right there. And this is one of the special elements in the Minchiati, of course, is the astrological signs. So here we have the Libra sign, balance. And it's got a what looks like a cat or fox on top and a hedgehog at the bottom. And it is true what Elle says, these are just so pretty. So I was looking at them again last night, and they were in a tin. This is the 10 of Wands and the 5 of Pent. And there's a couple, there's lots more. There's 96 or 97 cards. I had them in this tin, which is, it says, Curious Calling, All Curious. And it's got a telephone on the top. It doesn't have anything, it doesn't have any rapport with the deck. It's the right size, it fits beautifully. And yes, I might, of course, glue some type of pretty paper on the outside or on the inside and all that. And I can't be bothered. So I just took them out. And then I realized that I do have a spare Peggy bag. This one. So rather than leave the bag without a deck and the deck without a proper hiding place, storing place, I should say, in they go. So the second Peggy bag that I got all the way from the west side of the other side of the planet has got a purpose as well now. So, and that feels really good because it's there. I made these cards myself, sticking them, printing them out, sticking them on cardboard and all that. And it takes hours to make those type of decks. And this is comfortable because they're hard to shuffle because it's such a thick pile of cards. And as it is now, I can sort of take out half of the deck, do a bit of a mess around a bit with them, shove them, shuffle slightly like that, just a few of them, and then stick them back in. And I don't do reversals ever anyway because I don't see the point. I've had enough scary bits in my life, so I can just do it like this and look at something else and just stick them around and mess around with them in the bag, and then I can just sort of draw cards from the bag, right, like that. So this is what I get if I do that. So I've got these two there's 3 of these, like the Emperor and the Hierophant and the High Priestess are all 3 represented by these types of male characters. So, and then I get the Capricorn astrological symbol and the 8 of Wands. That's what I just pulled out of the bag. So anyway, this will work. I think it will work better at least than trying to shuffle the whole deck. And because they're just printed out and didn't spray any varnish or anything on them, they will be slightly fragile. So they will be quite fine in here, and I'm happy I saved this bag for a special purpose, really. So that was something that I wanted to show you guys. The other thing that I want to refer to is I just uploaded a, let me have a gloop of tea here because otherwise I'm going to talk myself dry. I have watched Lisa at Supportive Tarot's shadow work intro and half of the live chat, which tends to come in at my place on Saturday evenings around 7 or so, which is the time where I'm either in the kitchen washing up or making dinner or something, or we're in the middle of dinner, or we're watching telly after that. So it's not really a very practical time for me to participate in the live chat, which I do enjoy a lot if I get the chance, but that's not the type of moment that I will really want to do that. So my husband and I, at coffee time on Sunday, yesterday, we watched her presentation of the shadow work theme, okay? The subject as is. And I uploaded just now, I was talking about that, a review of, or not a review really, a sort of a re-review of the Nostradamus Oracle cards that I got. So it's in the channel, okay? It's just the previous upload from this one. Because I had never really gotten around to laying them all out in order and figuring out the tarot organization of that deck. And I think it's important because without the tarot background to these cards, it is a lot more difficult for us nowadays to accept ostentation, vagueness, all these types of content. So if you, for me, it's working that way. If I manage to kind of keep a hold of, this is the Seven of Cups, even the vagueness here. That's my first card. I drew 4 cards, really. I think the instruction was, or the prompt was, to do 3 cards out of a deck, whichever you like, in order to get a hold of a shadow side, observing the shadow side. Then the second one was about, let me think, because it has to do with owning it, I think that's what it was. And the third one was what's a new pathway, a new direction for that side of us that is engaged in the shadow. So that's why I did this. I pulled out, I actually had 4 cards because I somehow had this third. So the first card that I pulled was this vagueness card, which is actually the 7 of Cups. So for me, that's very helpful that I can actually sort of add on to this image the knowledge that I have of the 7 of Cups, right? This dreaminess and indecisive and indeterminate, sort of halfway in between thing type of state of things. So I get this. I kind of understand that. I had another card that sort of hangs on to that one, but it's sort of, I felt like this card was applying to all 3 positions really. And it is number 12, the knowledge card, which will be your Hanged Man, of course. So that's how I can see how that applies a lot. And I'm getting, at the end of this, I'm going to get to how this applies to my shadow work business. Number 19, owning it, ostentation, gets a completely different meaning if you know that that's the Sun card. And the last one for changing course, number 17, the Star, and it says here fantasy, but for me that becomes a whole lot bigger if I know that this is a Star card, right? So cool, I love it. And what this means, I think this applies just as well to my inner travails and all my changes and my changes in my lifestyle and all that inside, because God, yes, I have suffered, you can put it that way, from the combination of vagueness and knowledge all my life. I have had like an utter sense of conquest when it came to reading and processing information, and I was hungry for knowledge and for, I suppose, knowledge as power in a way. I wanted so badly to find, and in the course of the years it has become more and more, I needed to find solutions for things. So first, it took a lot of time to crystallize all sorts of problems and see what they were really about. And after that, finding ways to change anything, if possible, about those things. So, but the vagueness, yes. And the funny thing is, at the beginning, I get vagueness, so the Seven of Cups. At the end, I get fantasy. So it is like I'm coming full circle, even with the pink dresses and all that. This is not a pink pulley, but almost. I am kind of coming back to certainly with fantasy, to a part of life that's really natural to me, which has a lot to do with imagination. So the freedom of imagination, of putting things together, making pretty things, enjoying myself, feeling like there are different dimensions in life that I can access in one way or another. That doesn't necessarily have to be called fantasy. That's not, but you need imagination to make it work. So, and I think in our society, in our culture, fantasy and or imagination are frowned upon a lot. Certainly in Holland. Oh yes, because we think that it's unrealistic, and you're just deluding yourself, and you're pleasing yourself in your dream world and all that, and that's all there is to it, really, which I don't believe in. And I also love about these cards that the whole owning it part is really this one. So at first I was distracted because of the ostentation that it says here. It says, there isn't any French in here. Or is it? Fantaisie? Faste. Oh yes, the last but one term on the list here is in French. So I had to open up the dictionary files in my brain. Faste is actually a very old-fashioned word for... God, we don't use that anymore. But it would be like ceremonial, festive, showing off. So when Elizabeth, Queen of England, comes out to visit another, head of state or something, and in her best outfit and her best, all her best gear, and, they're having a sumptuous party together. They're having a sumptuous dinner party. Now that's it, right? So I'm just going into the term on this actual card here. I'm just for a second putting aside the whole sun idea, but owning it, to me, of course, is so much more about the sun, my sun being in Leo. Yes, hooray. So owning every part of the process, I think. The whole, Leo, the Leo sign is about the time in summer, on this side of the globe anyway, on my side of the globe, where you don't have to put any more work in, and time is so much on your side. All you need is ripening so it's at the gateway of this process of maturing, really, that you find yourself. And you don't really have to, you can put a lot of work in, and I certainly think so that I have, what with all my pentacles and stuff. But it's not necessarily about putting endless amounts of work in. That's why Leos tend to be lazy. That's a completely natural thing, but you just don't, your vibration isn't, and I've always thought that really interesting to link up these astrological signs with the seasons in that way. And I really wonder what it's like down in on the other side of the globe, where you have the opposite seasons, of course, because that doesn't make any sense, does it? There will be the system of the astrological signs and the zodiac, the way we use it, originates in Europe. So maybe you shouldn't think of yourself, if you're born in the middle of winter, our winter, as are you a Capricorn? Or what are you? Which I think is suddenly very interesting and completely flummoxing. So if there's people out there, I know there's a few of you out there who live in other parts of the globe like that. Can you say anything about this? Because I'd be fascinated to watch that. So yeah. So my Sun card, yeah, definitely. It has everything to do with owning it. Oh my goodness, yeah. And it has to do with owning that I am a dreamer. Oh yeah, that's one obvious part of this, is that I am not only made to regurgitate knowledge and give you the links in the Wikipedia to blah, whatever. I should also get back online with my dreams. And wow, that's quite a bit of a thought right there, because I think I spent all my time since I was 15 or 16 or so trying to make myself more realistic, trying to, force myself into, and it has paid off. I have got all this, all my, especially my capacity for putting things in words, and I have trained and I've worked at that, and I've had to be realistic, I suppose. If you want to do a person's birth chart, you want to make any sense of that, I want to know what is the common thing between all the Capricorns, or between all the Cancers, all the Leos. What is the common thing for people with Mercury in Cancer? What is it? What are we talking about? What is it that why is this a thing? Why is this supposed to work at all? I'm not so interested in the symbology necessarily. So that's why I'm really very Dutch person. So I've been all about that. I've been all about getting the job done, taking care of business, and getting very academic, on and on and on. Books and information and processing it up here and all that. And I haven't done all that much drawing, and I'm surprised that I don't really do any painting. Not really, not that much. There's been a bit about painting, and it's been like, yes, it's something I like and something I want, but always when there was like this inner invitation, because I had a dream about something and then I went off and painted that. Yes, I can do that, but it's not the same. I used to have a really fertile imagination. I used to be all about the, especially being a part of nature. And I suppose, lots of it is really Lord of the Rings based and whatever. But the book, not the movies. I've got a bit of a problem with the way I love animation movies. When it's new material, we just watched Ralph Breaks the Internet. God, insane. I love that. I love that type of thing. But a lot of that is like slightly veiled, or with a bit of humor, social criticism. There's quite a bit of, it's not critical in that sense, it's funny. It's supposed to be a reflection on society and people and what people do and stuff. So I love that. I think that's great fun. I always enjoy hugely watching animation movies because of the way things are drawn and the way the lighting is done and all that. I love that type of stuff. But all that is really very academic. And in terms of imagination, it's not so easy. Everything's tends to sort of boil down to practical things in life. So whatever that's going to mean to me, that will bear with some investigating, because I know it makes me happy to draw, and paint is the things that makes me most happy, apart from this here, because here I get to talk to people. So painting and drawing are always things that you do on your own very much. So new worlds of some sort, and there's, I don't know, maybe it's time to think of that in a different way. So I think that is more or less what I had to say today. I did another huge spread that I'm just going to refer to slightly. about my past lives experiences, because that's not gone from the radar. It isn't. Oh no. I did, because I had, the funny thing is, well, the interesting thing is, we also did this approach more or less for my husband, who doesn't have as much past lives intel that came to him. He's got a couple of elements, and there will probably be more in the foreseeable future. But he doesn't really. He's got a couple of points. It's not like with me that I got all this, you know, ladder of all sorts of information and things that are really connected to each other, and they belong to different lives and all that. For that, see past lives revelations if you like that type of thing. So what I did was I did like a sort of a spread, and I think I had 5 rows in the end, where 5 rows of 3 cards each, and I sort of intuitively felt like this is the first type of life that is relevant to me now, okay, in content, in the way I went about things, or whatever you like to call that. The second line had to do with India, with a life that I lived back in India for some reason. And then the 3 others were after that, and one of them had a place in some part of the Middle East somewhere. The 4th one is about probably what I would think to be the south of France. And the 5th one is today. Okay, so this life. So, and it was a very intuitively felt search in the cards. It was just going like that, you know, feeling for the right type of card. And it was instructive and it was interesting. And when we did the same episode for my husband, it turned out that what with talking about it, and we spent an evening over that more or less, or an hour anyway, it turned out he wanted to have more information, but that's not how this works. What he got was intel regarding that one past life that he does have some sort of an inkling of. And what we both had actually was that we were back in those days, back in the earliest stages, we had like a lot better social position. So you could say that we were well-to-do people in the context that we were in, both of us. And then you get a whole process where everything is turned upside down, and your possessions are taken from you, and you're left with nothing, and all you have is your family or your connection, or not even that. And then what kind of consciousness, what kind of awareness do you come to then? What happens? How do you live with that? How do you deal with that? And I have come to this type of idea where you get like a layering, like an endless almost layering of past lives, where there's a type of, it's like a particular job that you're working on. There's like this bandwidth of whatever type of content that's interesting to you. For me, it has been about being an outcast, and self-sacrifice, also ending up in the position that I'm in now, really, where I actually, if I take it all seriously, if I do feel like, yes, this is something that's actually happened, that allows me to share a whole lot of connectedness and compassion, and it's an extraordinary feeling, really, for me, of being life being eternal, as our lives are so much more powerful, and there's so much more depth and so much more you can connect to these layers. It's all you, really, so I think that's really cool to look at things that way. And I find that once I get to talk about this type of thing, it wakes me up in different ways. There's more going on there, and it is being really practical and being very, engaged into all sorts of very stringent meditation practices and all that has actually helped me so much to get all this intel, to get all this information. So I think that's my ramble for now. It's been a huge fun for me. I hope you like my type of stuff, my content, and I say have a nice day wherever you are, and I will be seeing you quite soon. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.